Okay, so the car journey is endless. We're spending most of our time in the car, and I keep seeing these places where I want to do some graffiti, and I can't just keep getting down everywhere. If I could, I'd do the whole country. Like I see these road signs like use helmet, it could be use helm, asking politicians to be accountable, or I could just blot out the thing and it could read hell and we'd be on the road to hell, which we kind of are. Um, just stuff like that. There's a lot out there that I could alter. There's the countless minarets to filter bigot. If the northwest frontier is the heart of Islamic extremism in South Asia, then Multan and southern Punjab is the lung of it. And we were bang in the center of town over there at the clock tower, where I wanted to do a more spontaneous piece. I went and observed and saw, to my distress, there was a lot many arms and ammunition shops than there were fruit sellers, for instance. I went around spray painting for the waste alone, kills for the waste alone, all over these shops, like on their signboards, on the steps leading up to them, so on and so forth. And in order to be able to do this, I had to basically tell them that I was from a representative of the Punjab government, because otherwise they wouldn't have really allowed me to vandalize their shops like that. Yeah.
आजकल बहुत मुश्किल हालात हैं.
These are very difficult times.
Every time dangerous.
It's a dangerous time.
What does he think about what's happening in Swat?
स्वाद में जो हो रहा है उसके बारे में क्या ख्याल है?
उसके बारे में जो है वो हुकूमत सही कर रही है.
The government is doing right.
You need to talk into that.
The government is doing right by the Swatis. Clearly, the city of Lahore is on edge. We landed here 6 hours after a journey from Multan, and obviously, like, bombs have gone off in the last 5 days. 5 days ago, there was a bomb blast that killed 30 and injured 300. But that didn't quite justify the kind of reaction that we got from the police, which was entirely disproportionate. We were basically just looking to go and have a look at the bomb site where this had happened, in a sense, as a sign of paying respects to the dead and to mourn the loss, and to figure out how and where to respond to this destruction. But the police questioned us and counter-questioned us, called superiors, and drove us off to a police station far away, and further questioned us and detained us for a couple of hours and just harassed us, basically. And this is not the first time this has happened to me, and I feel that as an artist with a social conscience, they've just got the wrong guy. Go get the terrorists, go get the people who are committing crimes, just like within a 1 mile radius of me just doing my harmless painting, like just trying to provoke thoughtful sort of a thoughtful response to what's going on around us. So now we're here at the end of the day, a very stormy day, which actually came to a close with a storm, that came down from the skies, blowing dust everywhere and like rain pelting down, and quite a fitting natural curtain call in a sense to the day. So now we're in Lahore at the end of that day, and I'm in my ancestral home in the old part of Lahore. Sitting above me is my grandfather, who I never met in my life. He passed away before I was born. But I'm told that he commanded obedience without actually demanding it. my father always cites his relationship with his father as one being of complete submission without being asked to submit, and to a rebel without a pause, that's just a really foreign idea. So I'm curious more than anything else. I can't say with certainty what he would have thought of what I do, um, but I know that it would have ruffled feathers for sure, which is a great source of pleasure and pride to me. That I also wonder what he would have made of Pakistan as it is today, because it's so very different from what that generation had imagined it would be. Um, I can't help but recall Faiz's verse about the mottled dawn of independence. In Urdu, it's ये दाग दाग उजाला ये शब गजीदा सहर ये वो सहर तो नहीं था इंतज़ार जिसका. Another concern that I've had through the trip, and I've had elsewhere in my practice as well, is the tension between art and activism. I think that when something is too activist, it stops being art, and when something is too artistic, it's lost on people, and therefore not, you know, um, creating social change in any way or affecting social change. So I think that the body of work, hopefully, that I've done holds these two ends of the spectrum in tension. I'm doing now a piece at Minar-e-Pakistan, which is a monument that commemorates the war resolution to create Pakistan. And basically, the piece that I'm doing is a comment on the forces pulling Pakistan in different directions. It's like these countervailing forces of bad and good ideas about the place. Ideals, bad and good ideals. It's a simple textual piece. Like inconspicuous on the back of a bench. Obviously, I don't want to vandalize the monument itself, so. Basically, this monument symbolizes the very ideal of Pakistan. Now, I think that perhaps this was a bad idea because, well, a lot of Pakistan's and India's resources have been spent in the 60 odd years since in trying to maintain that border that was drawn. I think that if the Muslim majority provinces had stayed within the federation and of united India, fewer lives would have been wasted, and more lives would have been bettered. I'm using the text bad idea and two sets of arrows, one made with a pitchfork and one just sort of a more straightforward arrow. to create the sense of being pulled in different directions. The bad in the country, backgrounded by the devil's pitchfork, is being uh, is pulling the country and its ideals in one direction, and enlightened ideas are pulling the country in another direction, tearing the very social fabric of Pakistan asunder and creating the violence that we see unfolding before us. Yeah.
बेड बनता है हाँ जी हाँ डी बेड का
The only problem that I see arising with this is that bad is pointing to the left and idea is pointing to the right. I don't think that anyone's going to give it that kind of subtle analysis, so I should be fine. But that's definitely not the intended meaning. उस सब से खड़े हुए हैं तो मतलब आपको कुछ अंदाज़ा हुआ है मैं कर क्या रहा हूँ?
तो अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं ना,
अच्छा काम
कोई मकसद का काम करेगा ना।
इसमें अच्छा क्या है और मकसद क्या
तो
है?
ये अल्लाह को मालूम है, ये तो तुमको मालूम है। वैसे करामात ये
वैसे इसको भी मालूम है, उसको भी मालूम है,
समझ गया।
लेकिन आपको इसमें खूबसूरती क्या लगी?
बस पेंटिंग ये लगा है, बस पेंटिंग सही है, मज़ेदार आया हुआ है, उस्ताद है। समझ गया।
बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत शुक्रिया।
हाँ, बात तो इस तरीके के इस मुल्क का,
हाँ।
तो लिहाजा ये जर्नल ज़िया के बाद इस मुल्क में बुराई आ गया। तो बुराई किस तरीके से आ गया, इस तरीके से आ गया, किस टाइम जर्नल ज़िया अपना मुल्क को, अपना वतन, अपना पटवारी कानूनी को उसने कह दिया, लिहाजा किसी का अफगान माजरीन के ऊपर कोई इंतकाल नहीं होएगा। समझ गया?
नहीं, I think that the reaction that the piece in Lahore got illustrates how literacy plays a role where you use text in your work. The man who was not literate in the Roman script and in the English language thought that the work itself was beautiful. He said that he called me a master and wanted explanation for what it meant. But then there was a pair of brothers who were more literate, and now I found it really interesting because he's using the vocabulary of religion to condemn actions taken in the name of religion itself.
अपने इस्लाम की खातिर जान दे सकते हैं।
जान दे दोगे?
हाँ जी, अपने इस्लाम के लिए, मुल्क के लिए भी और अपने इस्लाम के लिए भी।
इस्लाम के लिए
बिल्कुल।
तो तालिबान और भी तो जान दे रहे हैं इस्लाम के लिए।
ये तो जान दे नहीं, वो तो
जाने ले भी रहे हैं, ठीक है कि नहीं? वो तो मुसलमानों की जाने ले रहे हैं।
ये नहीं है, ये तो ये बात नहीं है, वो ले रहे हैं जान। वो तो एक इस्लाम के लिए लड़ रहे हैं,
इस्लाम के लड़ नहीं रहे,
वो भी इस्लाम के लिए लड़ रहे हैं, लेकिन नहीं देखो आप कह रहे हैं कि तालिबान ये जान,
तालिबान मेरी बात सुने, तालिबान
कहते हैं मुल्क में
मुसलमानों को
वगैरह फैली हुई है,
मुसलमानों को आपस में लड़ा रहे हैं,
फहाशी
मुसलमान ये
फैली,
मुसलमान
उनको
है।
खत्म करे, ये बंदों को तो ना खत्म करे, जैसे 1-5 के उधर धमाका हुआ है, उनको
जीपीओ के बाहर हुआ है, मुख्तलिफ जगह पे बम धमाके हो रहे हैं, होटलों में धमाके हो रहे हैं, ये नहीं होना चाहिए। मुल्क को
फहाशी क्या होता है? तुम फहाशी खत्म करना चाहते हो, तुम्हारा ख्याल है तालिबान करना चाहते हैं?
इंडिया का सारा ये काम है, मुसलमान पाकिस्तान में अमन ख़राब कर रहे हैं। अभी जैसे ये क्रिकेट हो रही है यहाँ पर, उन्होंने यहाँ पर हमला करवा दिया जी, पाकिस्तान तरक्की ना करे।
इंडियन ने कराया है,
यही इंडिया का काम है।
तो
ये
इस्लामी दहशतगर्द नहीं है?
नहीं, इस्लामी दहशतगर्द ये मुसलमान को मार ही नहीं सकते।
नहीं, कुछ
मुसलमान भाई ना ये काम ये
देखा जाए तंजीमें ऐसी भी आ जाती हैं कि
नहीं यार, ये तो तुम मतलब
मुल्क को बर्बाद
इस
करना।
दुनिया में रह रहे हो कि मुसलमान को मार नहीं सकता, पूरी तारीख में मारते आए हैं अभी तो। I think that there was a lot of back and forth that this piece generated. Perhaps because the Minar-e-Pakistan embodies so much meaning in it, that to layer it with text from a distance has been quite fruitful.
इशारा तो इस तरफ
एक इशारा उस तरफ है और 3 इशारे उस तरफ भी तो हैं। उस तरफ कोई नहीं। Basically, they're saying that I should have written good idea rather than bad idea.
You writes bad ideas. I think that you will be write here good and bad ideas, because every country has two ideas, bad and good ideas.
The piece, by the way, is also self-referential, talking about all the bad ideas that I've had throughout this trip, and it. But these guys saw the meaning of the Lahore resolution being a bad idea in this piece, and felt that I was presenting a part of Pakistan or packaging Pakistan in a negative light for a Western audience, which they didn't take too well to. They said that, oh, doesn't this happen everywhere? Why have you said bad idea? It should say good idea. And no matter how much I tried to explain to them and get on my soapbox and preach about universality and humanity and not being an us and them and being a Western media or a Western audience and a Pakistani subject, they still felt that it was sort of unpatriotic of me to be doing this.